Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. There's a new topic started now. So, Bab al-Khawf. Otherwise, to have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this chapter here, Imam Nabi Rahmatullah alayhi has brought up a few ayats of the Quran. A'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wa iyaya farhabun. قال تعالى إن بطش ربك لشديد. وقال تعالى يحذركم الله نفسه. وقال تعالى يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه لكل منهم يوم شأن يغنيه. وقال تعالى يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بالسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد. وقال تعالى ولمن خاف مقام ربي جنتان. وقال تعالى وأقبل بعضهم على بعض يتساءلون قالوا إنا كنا قبل في أهلنا مشركين ومن الله عليه وقال عذاب السموم إنا كنا من قبل ندعوه إنه هو البر الرحيم. These are ayats Imam Nabi Rahmatullah has brought forward to show the importance of how to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our actions, what we do. So we got to keep in mind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have extreme love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also. At the same time could have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also. Iman evolves between these two things, fear and love, fear and hope. So these two things we could keep in balance in our system, then inshallah we will be successful. And many people get confused with these two situations. That's why they become very bold to go to commit any guna against for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And some people have so much of mercy, it becomes so much of hope they have that they just do doing wrong things also. So this two things you could keep in balance always. This chapter where Imam Nabi Rahmatullah wrote about the of fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that at every moment we fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beniyaz. He doesn't need us in any way, but we are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala don't need any of our actions, nothing, but we are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy and rahmat at all the times. And as servants, which ibadah to make for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the tasbihat we read, the zikr we made to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is not in need of any of these things. But in reality, whatever this we are doing, this ibadah doing, is for our benefit. It's not to benefit Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's for our benefit whatever we're doing. The ibadat we make, the zikr asghar we make, the tasbihat we make, and whatever we do, whichever method we adopt to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in whichever way it is, it won't bring any greatness in the grandeur or grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is so great and so powerful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But how much ibadah we can make, how much tasbih we can read, it won't increase the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so great. So in other words, by making zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by turning towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are benefiting ourselves, not increasing the status of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Molana Rum Rahmatullah writes in one poem, he writes, that person reads subhanallah, he reads, that he reads the tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he remembers that we remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by making subhanallah, by we making tasbih that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very pak, Allah ta'ala is very pure. Doesn't mean make Allah ta'ala pak. It's not that. Allah ta'ala is pak already. We just make tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What's the meaning of subhanallah? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very, very pure. Allah is pure. Allah is clean. Allah has got no fault in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we're praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because He is faultless. Because of His greatness, we are praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so great and so powerful, by us making ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, turning towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, doesn't clean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or raise the status of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala is parked and clean from before already. Then furthermore he explains that by us making subhanallah and praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we ourselves become park. And a type of goodness coming within ourselves. Otherwise, by making the reading subhanallah, praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're not doing any favor to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we are purifying ourselves. We are benefiting ourselves by reading, we are purifying ourselves, in other words. Our dirty tongue, we're trying to clean our dirty tongue with the praises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thus is the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He gave us the permission to take the name of Allah, take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in reality, look at it, our tongue is not worthy to take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, always. Because the type of language we use, the type of words we speak with our tongue, our tongues become so dirty that it is not fit to take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so kind that He gave us the permission to take His name over the dirty tongue of ours. In other words, by taking the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our dirty tongue becomes clean, in other words. And look at how dirty our tongues are, by always doing wrong things, speaking lies also, false promises, whatever it is, using bad language, whatever it is, all bad things we do. Our tongue has become so dirty and so impure it has become that Allah Ta'ala shouldn't give us permission to take His name also. But Allah Ta'ala is so kind that in spite of all this dirt and guna we have committed, still Allah gave us permission to take His name. And in fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us to take His name, not to take permission, but He commands us, take my name, praise me, and clean yourself, in other words. I find this one little poem in Farsi, the meaning is, I can wash my tongue and my mouth 1,000 times with rose water. Then too, our tongue is not of the status that we can take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As when a person washes his tongue with rose water, how much smell will come out? But the gunawi combat is it's got such a severe stench. There's rose water also won't take away the stench. So how can we take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? But to take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with this dirty tongue of ours is showing disrespect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very kareem, He is very kind, and He is very merciful that He has given us the permission to take His name. And not the permission, but He has commanded us to take my name. And in this manner to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when the person remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then a person himself becomes spark from all the guna and sins he has committed. And the more we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more we become pure from our sins. Our sins get washed away and become close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we make tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what happens now? We are cleansing ourselves and making tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once somebody came to Hazrat Gangohi rahmatullahi alayhi and asked Hazrat Gangohi rahmatullahi alayhi that what must we read first? Must we read Durood Sharif first, or must we read Istighfar first? What must we do first? So Hazrat Gangohi rahmatullahi alayhi, I told him that when clothes get dirty, what you do? Say, I wash my clothes. Then after you wash your clothes, then you put perfume on your clothes. You don't put perfume on your clothes and then you go and wash your clothes. So Tawbah Istighfar is to wash yourself, make yourself clean. So wash yourself with Tawbah Istighfar, then read Durood Sharif and beautify yourself after Durood Sharif. It shows how important it is for us to understand the small things, that we are, how dirty we are, our eyes are dirty, our tongues are dirty, our hands, feet are dirty, our mind and thinking is dirty, everything. You will think of guna all the time. How is it possible for us to enter the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also? But Allah ta'ala is so kind that He gives permission to come to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and purify yourself. Read the dua, that etiquette of the masjid as we explained to us. Follow the etiquette of the masjid. Come close to me and come clean yourself now. So imagine how kind Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. So we could understand this kindness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and take recognition of the kindness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and become more close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and save ourselves from all types of evils, all types of wrong. We try and save ourselves. Then we have shown the gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this great ni'mat of coming into His house, in a masjid, and for giving the chance to make ibadat to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to clean our tongue and remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are all the ni'mats of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we could ponder, think over it. how kind Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. So whenever we do the work of Allah, the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at that time we go to have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within ourselves also. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in reality is not in need of our ibadah at all. Allah don't need our ibadah at all. But we are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times. That's why Allah samad. Then, so Allah does not need of us. We are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the more we become obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we humble ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more Allah will engulf us in His rahmat, His mercy at all times. So whatever we do, whether with our speech or with our limbs, whatever we do, I said everything is according to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you are very successful. You are. That's why I find some people will say certain person is like an angel he is. Why? Because his speech also and his actions and deeds also are according to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And on the other we'll find some people, their behavior is so bad, rotten, they say this person behaves like a shaitan behaves. Because his actions are bad, his speech is bad, everything is bad. He only harm people, hurt people, don't help and guide any people. So we could keep this in mind. Allah Ta'ala does not need our ibadat, but we are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times. No matter what happens, we are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times. So every time, every moment of our life, we must have this perception in our mind, this understand our mind, this thought in our mind, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching us. And we could make ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We mustn't go against the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anyways. And even when we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at that time also we must fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That this ibadah we're making, is it effort to be present in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not? Will the ibadah be accepted or not in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Should have that concern within ourselves, fear within ourselves. Whatever we have done now, the ibadah, is it worthy to be present in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is how Allah Ta'ala has commanded us to conduct our ibadah according to how Allah Ta'ala has commanded us or not? So this fear must be within us all the time. So in other words, a person does good work or a person makes any guna also, and in both instances he must fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When a person makes guna, definitely go fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But at the same time, when he makes some good action, ibadah, also go fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is the ibadah according to the status how Allah Ta'ala wants us to accommodate and do that ibadah or not? So in other words, when you make ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at that time also you must fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْتُونَ مَا آتَوْا وَقُلُوبِهِمْ وَجِلَةٌ. So here, Aisha was asked a question when his eyes came down, that when we do anything wrong, when we make guna of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we go to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is this the meaning of this ayat or what? So what did she reply? That and now we find that one situation we find where the person makes ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one is the person stay away from guna. And once the person makes guna, and the person makes ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So normally our perception is what? When the person makes guna, then we fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we make good actions, then he's caring whatever is, we don't worry so much about it. It's not that here. Then both ways go to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Aisha radiallahu anha replied to this question of this. She said that even when you're making ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you must fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you don't know, this ibadah you are making, is it worthy to be present in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is it accepted in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Also we don't know. So the ibadah we make also, we got to have the fear or concern that is the ibadah up to standard or not. And then there's way for us to progress. And the ibadah is made with sincerity, then the value of the ibadah goes higher. And the ibadah is not with sincerity, then the value of the ibadah also drops in other words. When to make ibadah to show the people, to show how pious they are, attract people's attention towards them, so that ibadah got no value at all. Make ibadah to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you don't worry what the people can feel about it, and that ibadah got value in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So ibadah was made with sincerity in other words. How is our ibadat? Now here, Hazrat gives the example now, because I understand easily that what was the condition of our ibadat. Hazrat Thanvi rahmatullah alayhi, one person came to him in his end, and we know in India in the olden days where there was no electricity at that time, she used hand fans to fan one another. So this person, when he told me khidmat of Hazrat Thani, such a busy person, such a great person, let me fan him a little bit, that he can get cool and he can do his work properly, he can do. So he was fanning the person, the Thani Rahmatullah alayhi, at the same time, but the fan was touching him and hurting him also at the same time. So he's thinking, I'm being great service to the Thani Rahmatullah alayhi by fanning him. But he never realized he's hurting and harming him. So after Thani Rahmatullah alayhi couldn't bear, he told him that now, are you in reality, are you give me comfort or you give me discomfort? Your intention is to fan me, to give me comfort, but your actions are such that you're hurting me, you don't give me comfort. So our ibadah is like that also. So we think we are making ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but in reality we are not fulfilling the rights of ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why when we make ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, we would always fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Doesn't become a thing of disrespect when we make our ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another example we explain here is Hazrat Molana Shah Ghulam Ali Sahab Dehli Rahmatullah alayhi. He was the murid of Mirza Jana Rahmatullah alayhi, and he was a great person of his time, and he was Khalifa of Mirza Jana Rahmatullah alayhi also. And people from far and wide should come to his majlis, should come, especially in Ramadan, should get a very big crowd, should get. People come to traverse the path of Surukhaim, should come in. From far people should come in. He was Nakshbandi Buzruk, he was also. People from Iraq, from Sham, and that area around, and all the area around there, from Bukhara, Samarkand, all those people should come to him for Islam, should come to him. Such a great person he was. So here, what I want to explain is that the time when he was by Mirza Jana Rahmatullah in his company, one day, Mirza Jana Rahmatullah, his wife told Shah Ghulam Ali Sahab, go to the bazaar and buy one needle for me. So he went and bought a needle and gave it to her. When he brought the needle, she got very upset with him. That is the needle to buy. You don't have to buy a needle also. You buy such a thick needle. Buy a thin needle, go to buy whatever it is. You say, I got so much, I learned such a lesson from you. Say, imagine for a person of the world, I couldn't do something according to their wishes, according to the requirements. How will I be making ibadah according to the requirements of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? In the world, you say, for quite a long time, you pass away in the thought alone. That one woman told me to buy something, I couldn't do it according to her wish. And imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how is my ibadah how will it be put in a court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Will it be according to the standard of Allah wants us to be ibadat or not? So these pious people, small incidents that take place in their life, from there they take a lesson from there, and that lesson changes many people's lives after that. Imagine, we also do the same thing. We go to the bazaar, we also going to buy things for our house people also. But do you ever think in this manner that they never like the certain thing, we're going to change the thing now again, whatever it is. But did you ever think that our ibadat also is compared with that, our behavior with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So that don't come to us, because our mind don't go towards those things. And the pious people, their mind always go to all these things, take a lesson from whatever transpires. The same way you'll find another incident of Hazrat Mirza Jana Rahmatullah alayhi, that Shah Ghulam Ali Sahab Rahmatullah alayhi, one day was sitting there and he was fanning him. He was fanning him with his hands, and Mirza Jana said, you haven't got any strength in your hand, you need food today. I can't even get a wind coming towards me also. Started fanning fast a little, but no. Started fanning fast. Mr. Sahab again said, now, but you're going to just fly me away, what now? So he told us, Mr. Jana Rahmatullah, not this way, not that way, very slow also, not acceptable, very fast. What must I do now? So Mr. Jana Rahmatullah got angry and said, leave my friend go away from me. He got very hurt about what he said. Then now I couldn't please my sheikh how he wanted to please him there. And I got angry, I got chucked out now. So imagine what will happen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he asked for forgiveness from him, and then allowed him to stay with him in his khanqah again. So we learn from a lesson like that also, that we know our ibadat is not over the standard which is acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Instead of that, in spite of that, we make tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we istighfar to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our ibadah, whatever it is. That's why I find, we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, also we say that we are not complete. We are naqis, we have got faults in ourselves. And with all those faults, Allah Ta'ala accept our ibadah, whatever it is. We are faulty in ourselves. As human beings, we are faulty, and we cannot be perfect in case. So accept accept our good deeds, but those faults also now. So that shows that how important it is to take an assessment of our ibadat and our contact with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also. So imagine now, who is more closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. There's nobody who is more closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we all very well know the status of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam also. Because Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is so close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's why he went from Miraj. From Miraj also he went to so close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where Jibreel sallam couldn't go also. So imagine how close he is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how much of love he has for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how much he understood the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the Bukhari Sharif there is one hadith where Aisha radiallahu anha narrates, when the wind should blow fast, the Nabi Kareem Sallallahu get very, very worried and upset. His face, the color of his face should change completely, and should turn towards the masjid and make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all of us should get worried, say, so then Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that the rain is going to come now, the clouds is coming out of it. Nabi Sallallahu should get very worried, his face should turn with fear. So when asked Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, why is this? Because it's a time of happiness now, that the rain is going to come down now, and you get so much of fear, and you can ibadat and being stiff and turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam replied, what guarantee is that this cloud will bring water down to us? And then he explained further, he said, there was the nation of Ad. At that time, there also, the cloud came down, and the people of Ad, what they said, هَذَا عَارٌ مُمْطِرُنَا, that this cloud is coming down to rain showers upon us. They were happy because of that, they didn't come down. And what happened that time, that those people, they were just obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they made guna to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah ta'ala sent down a punishment on them. For 8 days, they were completely very hot weather. The sun was very hot. So much so that whatever water they had, in the rivers also, in the dams also, whatever they call it, all the water got dried. Like a drought was, and they were very worried. So after that, Allah ta'ala sent down the clouds. Imagine the statement, there's drought and there's no water at all now, and the clouds come down. They all got very happy, they started rejoicing. The cloud has come down, the rain is going to come down. So all of them came under the cloud, in the shade of the cloud, and then Allah sent down fire from the clouds, and they all got burnt. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Nabi Kareem was saying that what guarantee have you got that this cloud has got rahmat, mercy for us, and not punishment for us, azab for us. So it shows that we have to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times. Doesn't take it for granted that this happened like that. No, we have to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, when the punishment will come down for our guna we do. But remember, very important, that one is one person makes individual guna. The individual gets punished whatever ways. And when the community themselves all get together and make guna, then whole community gets punished also at the same time. This is the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the majority of the people start making guna, then punishment come, the general punishment comes to everybody. And the guna comes, the person makes individual guna he makes, then the punishment comes individual on the person also. So the guna must not reach to a stage where it becomes general amongst everybody. Let's keep that in mind always. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bare niyaz. He doesn't need anybody. Not need of anybody. But we are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times. How closer we come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so much more we fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all the pious people, they always fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter how close they are, but still they fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we find this one place, there was one person, pious person, and whenever she got to his house, there was a lady in the neighborhood who should tell him, is your beard better or the beard of my goat better? So one day he replied to her, told that the day I die with Iman, then my beard is better than your goat's beard. If I die without Iman, then your goat's beard is better than my beard. So he said that, and she was mocking at him all the time. When his time came to leave the world, when he passed away, and we're taking the janazah past at the lady's house, And from the sound came out that today, alhamdulillah, I've passed with Iman, so my beard is better than your good beard. So all the pious, all the whatever was the end, how was the end be? So what Allah will make the end with Iman. And was love with Iman also, and we will die also with Iman, and Allah will resurrect us also with Iman. That is the biggest wish a moment has with himself. So that's why I find old people also, they valued Iman so much that they always said that Allah will make our Iman salamat. In Russia, when the communism was at its peak, and then after everything got finished, then one Buzurg went to and visited and see what's happening there. When he had a program, Jummah after Jummah, somebody told me, "You must come visit one lady, was calling you to make mulaqat with." He said, "I don't know who, what," and the situation was tense there at the same at that moment there. So I asked his host, what was it? He said, "No, go there." So they went to that lady. This old lady, so it was over 80 or 90 years she was. In Pandor, she was sitting there on the bed. So we salam, and after a little while, she asked Molana, "Please make dua for my safety of my Iman." He said, I made a request, my body started shivering. He said, why? Because at the time of this communism was in its peak, she should go and put her life in danger and go to all the young girls and save the Iman, bring the kalema, bring the namaz, bring them in the home, whatever it is. She should do all that, all her life she should do that to save all people's Iman, all the girls' Iman. She was of that status, she was. So now she's not leaving the world, she's still making dua, make Allah save my Iman. So imagine how much love she had for Iman. She had, no matter how much I save people's Iman, but what about my Iman now? So they had more value of Iman, of their own Iman, than anything else. So we could have that now. That Iman is more valuable to us than anything else. That must go to be ingrained with ourselves. Then we are successful. Other we fear, and that fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is within us at all times. If you haven't got a fear that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then our Iman is not of that degree or the status we have. Allah ta'ala wants us to have our Iman. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيَا فَرْحَبُونَ, that you must keep on fearing me. The original fear must be the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and don't fear anybody else besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now when the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes, then fulfill His command. Don't worry about the people going to say. Fulfill the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said, "Inna batsha rabbika lashadid," that Allah ta'ala, when Allah ta'ala punishes somebody, the grip of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very severe also. So a person must always have this thought within his mind, that we have got no guarantee that the ibadah we are making is except in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honor. We don't know on what act Allah ta'ala will take us to task. We don't know about that also. Sometime on a small little thing Allah ta'ala will take us to task also. That's why every time we could do fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There was one very, very pious person Buzurg, when he passed away. He thought now that he did a lot of good work. So Allah Ta'ala asked him, "What did you bring?" Say, "I brought my namaz, I brought my iman, I brought this, I brought all the ibadah I brought for." And Allah Ta'ala said, "What about little leaven? What about that of the milk?" He couldn't understand. He said at night when he had a pain in your stomach, what happened in the morning? He came to realize, "So Allah, I brought nothing, I got nothing with me." Because he said in the morning that the pain in my stomach is because of the milk. So he thought that milk was the cause of his pain, and never thought that everything under the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Tawheed, what Tawheed means, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came with Tawheed, he said. So Allah Ta'ala said, you came with Tawheed, to what happened with Tawheed there when you said that the milk did pain in my stomach? So there is that word of Tawheed, that pain came because of me. So on a small thing, also Allah Ta'ala can take us to task also. So we've got to be very careful how we conduct ourselves, what we do also. We've got to be very careful with those things. Some place find a person, a lot of ibadah and everything, but because he harmed the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, a cat he got in the home, and he don't feed the cat and look after the cat now. So because he will be punished, because when the cat was free from his clutches, he should eat anyway. But now you got a cat now in the home, you're not feeding the cat at all, then you're oppressing the cat in other words. So these small things, you know which thing can come against you on the day of Qiyamah. That's why you must fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever ibadah to me, you got to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times. And in Surah Hud also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions few ayats. Says Allah ta'ala mentions the condition of the ummats before Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. How Allah ta'ala punished those people who disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. While mentioning this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَكَذَلِكَ أَخْذُ رَبِّكَ إِذَا أَخَذَ الْقُرَى وَهِيَ ظَالِمَةٌ إِنَّ أَخْذُهُ إِلَيْهِمْ شَدِيدٌ. أَخْذُ أَلِيمٌ شَدِيد, severe punishment called them for. When Allah Ta'ala's grip comes down for punishment, then no settlement will save from the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah Ta'ala's punishment is very severe, His grip is very, very severe, and nobody can come out of His grip of the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine, if you, as mentioned just now also, that when the guna is an individual does guna, then the punishment comes on the individual. When the guna spreads amongst everybody, the whole community, then the punishment comes on whole community. So here also, zalim in akhdu alimun shadid. Now here Allah Ta'ala takes severe grip onto them, but the guna they have made, and it can come out of the grip of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إن في ذلك الآية لمن خاف عذاب الآخرة. So all these incidents mentioned in the Quran are to take a lesson from there, how Allah Ta'ala punished the people of the past who disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in some way or the other. ذلك يوم مجموع له الناس وذلك يوم مشهود. And then Allah Ta'ala will collect everybody on the day of Qiyamah, and all will see with their own eyes, they will see, they will witness everything. And don't think that the day of Qiyamah will not come. It's definitely going to come. You'll see it at the time. So we've got to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from now, for that day, when the day comes. That day you can't refuse anything then. وَمَا نُؤَخِّرُ إِلَّا عَدَلٍ مَعْدُودٍ. And Allah kept a special time for this day, and this will never get waved away. That time will definitely come. The promise is there, it will come. So the day of Qiyamah will definitely come, and the person will see the day of Qiyamah, and then he'll come to realize what happened now. It's too late then. The time was now to have iman on the akhirat, prepare for the akhirat, not after you leave the world. Whether a person is a mu'min or whether a person is a kafir, a non-believer, all will witness the day of Qiyamah, definitely. It's not only the mu'min will witness the day of Qiyamah, only the non-believers will witness the day of Qiyamah. All are going to witness the day of Qiyamah, whether he's a mu'min or a non-mu'min. And at that time, nobody will have the guts or courage to speak also that day. When they see the grandeur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they'll say that day, their mind will all get boggled in such a way, they won't know what to do, they won't have guts to speak also at that time. But whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give permission to speak, that person will speak. فَمِنْهُمْ شَقِيُّ وَسَعِيدٌ. From the day of Qiyamah, there will be people who are good people also, and those people who are bad people. All will be there on the day of Qiyamah. All will be collected on the day of Qiyamah. And those people who are good, they will go to Jannat, and those who are bad will go to Jahannam. And that's where they will be crying, they will be wailing, and they will be cursing themselves. That won't help them at all at that time. So this ayat came down, understand what this ayat was, for us to understand that fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whatever we do, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't oppose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't go against the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the grip of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very severe. Furthermore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in one ayat, says, يَوْمَ يَفْرُ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ. On the day of Qiyamah will happen. At that time, the brothers will run away from their own brothers. Fathers will run away from the sons will run away from the fathers. The wives will run away from the husbands. Everybody won't want to see one another at all. Why? Because they fear that now in this world, while staying within the world, that sometimes something does happen where somebody gets displeased with somebody somewhere. Now that rights were violated of that person now, that person then will fear now that maybe I violated my rights some or the other unknowingly also, and they come ask me for the rights, what has happened to me now. Yet I can't do any good action now, whatever I got secure that good action, I got to go to Jannat now. And they come ask for their rights, my sawab will be given to them, and what happened to my going to Jannat then? So at that time, each person will worry for own self, don't worry for anybody. Where they were so close in the world with one another also, in spite of that, on the day of Qiyamah, they won't worry of them. Because the more worried, they could ask me for any of the favors that was due to them, and they take my sawabs away of what's happened to me. So this fear has been shown, we put it into ourselves, you can understand how to live in this world to fulfill the rights of one another. Once you can fulfill the rights of one another, then on the day of Qiyamah also no one can ask you for the rights on the day of Qiyamah. So then you will save them on the day of Qiyamah. But if you not fulfill the rights of somebody in this world, even if it can be relatives, relations, whatever it is also, if they never fulfill their rights, they also will come on the day of Qiyamah and say, no, give me my rights now. Because the currency will be sawab there now. And they want sawab, they also look for sawab to go to Jannat. So it's important that we have to understand this part also, that we go to secure our sawab in such a manner that we don't violate anybody's rights in this world also. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhan nas taqu rabbukum inna zalzalata as-sa'a shay'un azim. O people, that you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that surely the day of Qiyamah will definitely come. The fearful day will definitely come. And when you see that the fearful day, when it comes, the Qiyamah will come, fine, that a woman was giving milk to the baby, and the baby sucking the milk of the mother, they also will forget what they are doing also. And they will think that, and when people will see that scene at that time, they will think all the people are intoxicated. What's happening to them? Why they're running away? What's happening to them? Because the fear will be so much on the day of Qiyamah that they won't know what is happening. And in reality, they won't be intoxicated or drunk in anything. But because of the fear and the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the fear will come into them. And because of the fear and the punishment will be so great that they'll lose their senses on that day. The people think they are all drunk people running around. So this ayat, Allah mentions the ayat was to bring that fear in us, then we go to worry of that day of Qiyamah. And it comes in the tafsir also, it comes that one person will sleep at night, in the morning when he wake up, his hair will become white already. So ask him, what happened? Why your hair became white when you slept last night? Your hair was black already. He said, I saw a dream, and I saw the scene of Jahannam. That fear was so much in me that my hair turned white already in one night. So imagine in the dream a person saw the black hair turn white. What will happen to the person when he put the scene of Jahannam with his own eyes on the day of Qiyamah? What will happen then? So all these things are for us to understand, to make us cautious to understand how we conduct our lives in this world. Like here, for example, in Hadith, we'll find one day Nabi Karim Sallallahu was sitting with the Sahaba Kiram and was explaining to them the beauty of Jannat. And in the beauty of Jannat was explained there's one house, such a beautiful house it is. It's got a balcony also on the top. From top of the balcony you can see down also. From down also you can see on top, and explaining the beauty of the balcony and the house. So normally Nabi Karim Sallallahu way of tarbiyat was that to bring the attention of the person in front of him to understand, to listen carefully, he can understand, he can listen, and then he can practice upon it. So when he's explaining this scene of Jannat all the time, the one Sahabi who was from the village, Dehati, he got up quickly and asked Nabi Karim Sallallahu, who is his houses? He's speaking of this Jannat, such a beautiful house, but who will get his houses? So Nabi Sallallahu explained that this house will be for those people whose speech is who use soft speech. Soft speech means kind words. Soft speech means to whisper. Soft means kind words. Use kind words. He uses. And at the same time, this house is for those people who feed the hungry people. And this house is for those people who keep rosas in excess. And this house for those people, when everybody is sleeping, they make ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So imagine now, when they saw the scene of Jannat, the urge came to them to acquire this house in Jannat. So it asked Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, how will get this house? Who will get this house? Nabi Karim Sallallahu explained that these are the four things that people will do. they will get that house, beautiful house now. So now the Sahaba were ready now to accept, to fall on the 4 points to get that house in Jannah. Now imagine, look at our condition today now. We also read the same hadith we read also. But is there any change in our lives? Do we think that we also achieve that, get that house in Jannah also? Do we monitor our speech, how our speech is? Do we keep rozas also, rozas in any time? Do we think of the thought come to our mind sometimes? Or sometimes do we also feed some hungry person? Or do we also read namaz at night, read namaz to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The thought doesn't come to us because our iman is not of that level already. So we go to try and bring our iman to that level we must bring. Look at the Sahaba Kiram, how their lives were. One Sahabi asked Nabi Karim Sallallahu for some advice. Nabi Karim Sallallahu told him that don't ask anybody for anything. So afterwards, after passed away also, after one day he was going somewhere on his horse, his whip fell down. So he got off his horse to pick up that whip. It was around a kilometer. Just a small little thing got down. She just tell us, we'll give it to you. So I made a promise to Nabi Karim, I won't ask anybody anything. Whereas the meaning of that was not this. The meaning was not this, to take help from anybody. But it was so particular that whatever promise made to Nabi Karim, they fulfilled it to this degree, they fulfilled it so much. So what is our condition today? We also believe Nabi Karim Sallallahu is our last Nabi, final Nabi. We also believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our Rabb. How much do we have recognition for the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Nabi Karim Sallallahu? For us, when somebody put an eye in front of us of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or hadith of Nabi Karim Sallallahu, we just brush it aside and say that is one of those things. But the Sahaba Kiram was not like that. They used to pay heed to it and immediately practice upon it. They put it into action straight away. They knew our success lies in the command of Allah and the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Nothing besides that. So we will take an assessment of our iman and see how our iman is won. Now the problem is nowadays, when iman gets so weak, we always involved in another person's problems always. We talk bad of the next person. We busy making ghibah of the next person or things there. We're not worried about after ourselves. Because we don't monitor our speech. Because we're not worried of the house, get house in Jannah. We don't worry about house, get Jannah. We won't make ghibah of anybody. We won't make bad of anybody. We won't talk bad of anybody. We won't put allegation in anybody. You look up to your speech properly. You look up to your speech. And you help somebody to give them good advice. You give them also. This comes in the hadith that a person, two people has got some dispute with one another, and you go there and try your best to patch them up and get rid of the confusion and the dispute among themselves. Then for every word you spoke there, you get a sahab of freeing one slave. And when you come back home completely free from all punah and sins. How much thing our Nabi taught us, and that we have that in our mind when we do anything. One person asked Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, how can you become close to Allah? How can Allah love you? And how can the creation also love you? So imagine where the thoughts of the Sahaba goes. The Nabi Karim Sallallahu was such, they're only worried of the akhirat all the time, they're worried. So ask Nabi Karim Sallallahu, how can we become close? How can we become the beloved of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and at the same time become beloved of the creation also at the same time? So Nabi Karim Sallallahu answered them so beautifully and told them that when you fulfill all the rights of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, what Allah has commanded us to do, we fulfill that. Let us stop us, prohibit us from doing something, you stay away from that, then become most beloved to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And in the world, we don't ask anybody for anything, we don't help house on anybody, then we love by the creation also we love. So Nabi taught us a way how to live a life of respect in the world also, in other words. So it's important we try and learn how our Nabi taught us to carry our life. Today I met one person is telling me, then one person I met him is telling me that certain people in my family, they are well to do, so they pay me every month, they pay me rent for me, whatever, 3,000, whatever they pay. My wife goes to work and that's how so now I say now, that relative of mine doesn't know that so much inflation, but still give me more money. Understand? So he said, I got so upset with him. I told him that you're short of only 1,000 then you're short of. So why don't you go to work for 1,000 and you can work anywhere, you get work for 1,000 and you get. And you get 2,000 and at least 1,000 and you can tell, give me less, 1,000 and less, you can give me also. Have that on a shame you at least. So our people are said that when they on ask and they don't want to do anything themselves to lessen their burden. No, they're dependent on somebody all the time. So he said, I told him that I feel ashamed to tell you that whatever person are you, your wife goes early in the morning to go and work. You don't go and live by the door to tell her, Allah take you safely, bring you back safely also. You're sleeping in her bed when she goes away. So imagine how our life is going to go. That we're not worried of our responsibilities. We're only worried of the next person. There's no gratitude left in ourselves to be grateful to somebody doing something, helping us somewhere, and we become lazy after that. That's not correct. One place they said there was one person, he heard in the bayan that he must have confidence, trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah provides for everybody, everything. So he thought, no, now I'm not going to do anything. Allah provides for everybody, Allah provides for me, never mind. When set under one tree. Now, what happens, Allah will provide for whatever it is. After 1-2 days went past, and he saw on the tree, saw that there was one snake, was blind. One bird was coming from one tree, taking a fruit from it, putting in the mouth of this. Okay. So he saw this. So he said, no, now how the bird is feeding that, Allah will feed me also. I got no problem now. And one person who was very intelligent, person of wisdom, was going past, he saw this, asked him, he said, no, Allah is going to provide from whatever it is, and see what's happening there. I mean, the blind snake can get rosy from Allah, Allah will give him also rosy also. So what a wise man told him that, why don't take inspiration from the bird, and why don't take inspiration from the snake? Take inspiration from the bird must take. The bird is eating himself also and feeding the snake also. Are you also? Are you what you call apaj? Are you disabled or what? You are not disabled. So why don't you take inspiration from the bird? So we look at things which suits our nerves, our desires, and we come to a conclusion, which is not correct. So once we have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these two things go hand in hand, then we become a perfect Muslim. You become. So we could keep this in mind all the time. Our ibadat is not fit to be put in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get anything in return for it. But it's a favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is giving us a reward for whatever we are doing. Our tongues are so dirty, we speak so bad language use of our tongue, and that with the result that tongue is not worth to take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also. But Allah ta'ala gives permission, no, read the Quran also, read namaz also, read tasbih also, make zikr also. Allah gives permission to do all those things. That's the greatest of Allah's kindness for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that gives us permission to do it. Think in that manner, then you enjoy your zikr, you enjoy your ibadah you are making, because we are not worthy of it, and Allah gives permission to take His name. So imagine how dirty we are with our hands, our eyes, our ears, our tongues, our whole body is so dirty with guna. It was right that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, now you're so dirty, you can't come to my house, you can't come to the masjid now. But Allah ta'ala so kind, in spite of all that dirt you got in you, come to my house and clean yourself. Come. So how kind Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is towards us. So we could keep this in mind and try and clean ourselves by istighfar and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with ourselves, that we can also enjoy the sweetness of the ibadah of Allah subhanahu, enjoy the sweetness of the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Qari Amir Sahab rahmatullah said that the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more sweeter than sugar and honey also. You say a small poem, the meaning was, to take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more sweeter than honey and sugar also. Okay? So if you have the love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then enjoy taking the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala gives us tawfiq of understanding and practicing and following the teaching of Allah and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to enjoy the love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, enjoy making ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and coming close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We find many people find, for example, sometimes when you go and in the madrasa where only deen children are there, Hifz children are there, or learning deen only learning there, the only object is all deen all the time. But when you go there and see after Maghrib reading now the Awabin namaz reading, that no students will get up to read namaz. Or seeing you where you are there, they won't read namaz. They'll watch you reading namaz, no problem. But they won't read namaz themselves. If you're reading Ishraq namaz in the morning, reading after Fajr saying that, they'll see you everything, but they won't get up to read namaz. Why is that? Because their love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not there. Their fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not there. Their focus on akhirat is not there. They haven't got the value of the teaching of Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why there's no shock in them to do it. Once the person sees somebody doing something, you would do it. What is our condition? If you put here you put some food here, and you put a Muslim and touch your Quran, our hands will go towards the food or the cell phone. We'll go towards the cell phone, don't go towards this one. Why is that? We're going to change that for this. More eager to take out time to make ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You go to the masjid, you'll find some people reading the namaz in the masjid, some reading Quran in the masjid, others going out of the masjid after Farz namaz. After this people read the Quran finished, or read Tasbih finished, or their extra namaz they finished, when you go outside, people still talking outside. So what did they benefit talking outside? You just spend a few months in the masjid and read something, make it ibadah, how much would they benefit? Because he didn't have that love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they shouldn't waste their time talking outside, they should spend their time making ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the masjid should make. So because our focus has been shifted, that's why our behavior is of that type also. Allah give us tawfiq of understanding and making our focus right, that we can worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how we supposed to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.